come in if they wish to take pictures. And after you've taken a picture of your own favorite graduate, it would be nice if you would slide out of the way so other folks can do the same.
Good evening. I'd like to introduce to some people at first. On my right is Principal Mr. David McGuire. Next to him is Dr. Alan McCartney, Superintendent of Schools, followed by Mr. Cole, President of the Board of Education, and followed by Mr. Arthur Willis, Chairman of the Social Studies Department. Board of Education, faculty, families, friends, and most importantly, the class of 1998. It is my privilege to welcome you here tonight and to begin the commencement exercises for the class of 1998. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the national anthem played by the wind ensemble. Please be seated. Yo, what up? Remember the time when, remembrance is something that would always remain with us. Whether it be good or bad, satisfying or regretful, memories are what we will live on throughout our lives. A simple smile, a long laugh, or a raging party can all put a touch of warmth on our hearts as we look back. Throughout the years, we have all loved, despised, or been jealous of one another. There is a memory of each and every one of us imprinted in our minds. I look at your face, and I laugh as I remember driving a Subaru and headbanging to thrasher music. I look at you and shake my head in astonishment, remembering when we got caught doing things we shouldn't have been doing. I look at you and cry, remembering the heartache we've gone through together. Then I look at you, and I burn with anger, remembering how you used me. As I look at you, and you, I smile and remember things said and things done. And in my heart, I feel fulfilled with my past, knowing that as time passes on, our paths will cross again, and we will remember these times together. And as we part, do not weep right away. Keep these precious times in your heart. The ones who have left you will also cherish these moments and will not forget you. When you are lonely, remember the memories that we've shared, and know that I'm remembering too. The future lies ahead, and although it seems vast and uncertain, these reassuring thoughts of the past will remind you that you are special, and with that, you can make your future plentiful, filled with love and happiness. Remember the good times. Laugh, smile, sigh, and dream. Reflect on the bad times. Cry and promise to forgive, as well as thank the ones who got you through. Just remember always one, and remember always who.
We will now have a musical selection to Dance in the Secret Garden by Robert W. Smith. I am honored to present to you the salutatorian of the class of 1998, Joseph William Arenas.
Thank you very much. Well, I was writing this speech last night, and, well, actually it was today, but, it's just about how good this school is and everything. But after a while, I figured out that it's not really that good, so I'm not going to read it tonight. So, how's everyone tonight? Weather's nice, didn't rain. But I really can't think of anything else, so I'm just going to read the speech anyway. That was the first joke of the evening, thank you. I'd first like to say what an honor it is to speak for you tonight, but it's going to be very short, so don't worry. A few weeks ago, as I was looking at a letter from SUNY Binghamton, where I'm going in the fall, I began to wonder what I was going to do after I graduated. Do I want to pursue a career in business? Do I want to become an accountant? Where am I going to live? All these questions overwhelmed me. And then as I was thinking about them, I realized that they really didn't matter right now. I haven't even finished graduating high school yet. More important questions still needed to be answered, like where am I going tonight? And am I boring everyone already? I bet that most of you, as I speak, are wondering what you're doing tonight or what parties you're going to tomorrow. What I'm trying to say is many of us spend too much of our lives worrying about the future. We allow past problems and future concerns to dominate our present moments, so much so that we become frustrated and depressed. On the other hand, we also put our happiness on hold, convincing ourselves that someday will be better than today. John Lennon once said, when we're busy making other plans, our children are busy growing up, the people we love are moving away and dying, our bodies are getting out of shape, and our dreams are slipping away. In short, we miss out on life. I think that many of the graduates here, including me, are guilty of this. We are too concerned about graduating high school and getting out of Voorheesville as soon as possible, that we may not have lived our lives up to today to the fullest. No one has a guarantee that he or she will be here tomorrow. I heard a quote once which relates to this point. One inmate in a prison on a show called Oz has 6 words written on his wall on death row. They read, "Death is certain, life is not." Now is the only time we have and the only time that we have control over. But on a lighter note, I'm happy to graduate high school and I can't wait to get out of here as soon as possible. I've had a great time here. As we go our separate ways and head off to college, the memories from this school, no matter how minor or seemingly insignificant, will never be forgotten. I'm happy to say that I have gotten to know almost all my graduating class very well, and in some cases a little too well. I've been here for 10 years or so, and I've made some great friends and not too many enemies. I'll never forget the parties, the dances, and the sports that I played. Although we didn't make it into sectionals, this year's baseball team provided me with many long-lasting memories, like my man Phil over here playing on the team, or my peaceful naps out in left field during the games. And also, Joe Linner's home run in Cooperstown, which I have to say. Golf was good too. Alright, I think I'm done now, so I told you it was short. But as Jerry Springer would say, this is my final thought. College is going to be a lot different from Voorheesville. The real world is filled with drugs, violence, and transsexuals. Well, maybe it's not that much different from Voorheesville. So when we think back years from now, we will learn to appreciate the caring teachers and great friends that we have made along the way. We have learned from the good and from the bad, and even if we've learned nothing, we've gained a place to come back to, however stupid we are. Take care of yourselves and each other, and send money, please.
Thank you, Joe. Lauren Sari Lloyd will now present the class gift.
First, the class of 1998 would like to recognize 3 teachers. First, Mr. Christopher Mastro for being our rehearsal speaker. Second, Ms. Janice Wysocki for being Teacher of the Year. And third, Mr. Arthur Willis for his words of wisdom and for also being our commencement speaker. I also have a plaque for Mr. Willis. Finally, as the district progresses into a new venture next year, our class would like to be partly responsible for its success. So, as our class gift, we would like to donate the balance of our treasury toward the Distance Learning Center, which will open this fall. Thank you.
I'm again honored to at this time present to you the valedictorian of the class of 1998, Philip Matthew Erner.
Well, it's good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow graduates, faculty, parents, relatives, and friends. Here tonight to talk to you about something. And we'll have to see what it is because I'm really not sure myself. It's pretty much how life is anyway. You know, you just see what happens. But I do know this. It's a pleasure and an honor to speak to every one of you. It's an impressive and talented group of individuals that we have here. I don't know why I'm speaking, really, besides the fact that it's a tradition, I guess. But what the heck, right? Right. It's really nothing out here. Well, we're here together for the last time as a class. Gives the community a chance to recognize the success of its students. I think that's what graduation is all about. but as we all know, it's also called commencement, which means that it's a beginning. And we all know that this is the beginning of the so-called real adventure in the real world. I agree. I think that the main reason we're actually here, though, is that we're recognizing the value of education. And, well, I could say that that's a no-brainer, but that wouldn't really work. Thank you very much. I won't be very funny after this. I mean, there are hundreds of important issues that I could address right now, but I'm definitely going to be talking about education. I won't take up too much of your time. Everybody's singing this Hot 10 on a Friday night. But, well, I think that humans' ability to reason makes them unique from all other forms of life as far as we know. Not lice. Yes, lice can reason very well, as far as I know. And there are a lot of things that education really does. I mean, education is essential to being human. It adds significance to your life in ways that nothing else can. It broadens your horizons. It allows you to see things from every perspective if you give it a chance. And the idea is to become open-minded. And I think that our teachers here have done a great job with helping us to become open-minded. And I think that one thing that I learned is that from combining all the ideas that you can and leaving yourself open to suggestion, you can formulate your own Weltanschauung, if I pronounce it correctly, which is a worldview, so I'm told. And basically that's a whole perspective on life, which is unique to the individual, yet it is an absolute necessity, and it's the beauty of being an individual. I'd just like to take a moment to appreciate the teachers at Voorheesville. Those involved in the profession of education in general are underappreciated. I think that we need to create more incentives to try to get the best that there are out there. The greatest minds need to teach, because after all, these teachers make society what it is. Here, the teachers are undoubtedly some of the finest around. Now, in terms of the future and education, regardless of whether you, my friends, continue on from here to college or not, the learning process must never end. And in your life and career, you should learn to educate others. You should teach others your profession, help them to help themselves, help people become better people and better at what they want to do. If and when you raise children, you should educate them in the ways of the world as well. And the future of society really relies on us. So I think that it's important that we do our best in that department of education. Each and every person has a responsibility to educate as many people as possible. But the thing that's great about education I found here is that it's really a two-way street. It wasn't, maybe in elementary school it starts out more as the transmission of ideas, but once you get to high school, it really becomes the sharing of ideas. And that's the key, really, because, again, it relates back to the open mind. And I think that teachers here are really willing to listen to what students have to say, and the other way around. Therefore, we can really share the wealth. Again, that word share is key. A favorite quote of mine that relates to this is that students are not here to worship what is known, but to question it. Basically, questioning is how the entire world came to be as it is now. If everybody sat back and didn't question, we would still think the world was flat, and that we wouldn't know what America was. We wouldn't know that we wouldn't know a lot of things. To next year's seniors, you're still in high school, obviously. So you have to unite in order to be strong next year. For the sake of the future students and society as a whole, you have to care about the direction of the school. And you have to, like I said, strength in numbers. Our class, I think, was a great group of leaders. We should be proud of that. We're the leaders of the future. We're the leaders of the present. We are the future, so we've done a good job so far. I think the memories here last forever, but they're not only memories. You have to use them as a foundation to other things. I think that our student government this year was really great, by the way. And I just think that that exemplifies what we've done so far with our education. That we've been able to do so many great things. And now a collection of some common phrases that relate education to our class. Just do it. That's apropos advice for indecisive people such as myself. You can achieve your dreams. That's everyone's favorite motivation and inspiration. And it's true. But like Joe said, don't just dream, just do it. Live in the present. Hey, that's another one. Live life to its fullest. Don't take it for granted. Again, there's only do or do not. There is no try. The famous wisdom of Yoda. You learn something every day, even every minute. Learning something right now that maybe I could be a better speaker in the future. Congratulations to everybody. Thank you very much.
I'd like to start out by thanking the parents, relatives, friends, teachers, administrators, Board of Education, who for the last 12 years have worked with these young ladies and gentlemen to bring them to where they are tonight. I think maybe the class of 1998 should give you all a round of applause. When I was about 6 or 7 years old, I lived in a place called Yonkers, New York, and I wandered out of the house, went down to the playground, and one thing led to the other, and I ran into this guy named Danny. Now, Danny was about a year older than I was, a lot bigger than I was, and I knew he was a lot tougher than I was because he had 14 brothers and sisters, and he was the smallest one. So one thing led to the other, and he just pounded me. I still to this day don't know what I said to him, but he pounded me. So I ran home, got bloody nose, feeling sorry for myself. My mother is going nuts. We're going to move out of this place. You're never going to be allowed out on your own again. My father just stood there. My mother is still holding my hand. My father looks down at me and he says, "You got to go back." Now, of all the things in the world I wanted to hear from that man's mouth at that point in time was not, "You've got to go back." Because there was no way I wanted to go back. Because I knew I was going to get pounded again. Well, you know something? He looked at me again and he said, "You got to go back. Because if you don't go back, you will never be able to go there again." And I've got to tell you, in my life, and I'm sure in most of yours, different places, different arenas, at different times, I've been pounded again. Not necessarily by Danny, and I didn't necessarily get a bloody nose. But somewhere in the back of my mind, I hear that stern voice saying, "You got to go back." In the sense of what I'm trying to tell you guys, never give up. You always got to go back. Because without it, there's no way you're going to survive. You're not going to stay on top. But before you think I'm telling you to sort of go out there and keep getting knocked down, I'm going to give you a few words of advice that you may want to take to heed. First of all, rely on your parents for their wisdom, your instructors for their learning, and your elders for their experience. Secondly, you need to develop self-discipline, become your own boss in the best sense of that term. Because with self-discipline comes focus on requirements, and you can then have short and long-term goals. You need to accept and thrive on challenges and on change. It will never be less hectic than it is today. If you think today is hectic, wait until tomorrow. Fourthly, absorb, find, seek, gain, pick a word. As much education as you can, and then continue learning from life for the rest of your days. Continue to read, listen, and watch. But above all, carry your beliefs proudly, because they will help you preserve your conscience, which in turn will guide you and help you evaluate the things you will read, hear, and see. Most importantly, however, in the words of Dr. Zeus, you have your brains in your head. You have your feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own. And you know what you know, and you are the person who will decide where to go. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98.75% guaranteed. You'll move mountains. So be your name Loxbaum or Bixby or Bray or Medici Alley Van Allen O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. So, get on your way, and good luck. I would be remiss if I didn't make at least one comment about Art Willis. I have had the privilege not only of being your superintendent here, but also of knowing Art Willis. When I think of Art Willis, it brings to mind a story. A friend of mine who was a professor of nuclear physics at RPI, he and another professor were having a disagreement or an argument about what education is. And the other professor said to him, "What do you think I would be worth if I had memorized and I knew every single fact in this quantum physics book?" My friend took the book from his hand, he opened it up to the front cover, he looked and he said, "About $28.75. Because knowing things is not the same as being educated. And if Art Willis has taught you guys one thing, he has probably taught you that it's not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. And to me, that is a lesson that everyone should learn. And I think Matt Barron has a few comments. Where's Matt?
This is supposed to be sincere, so if you laugh, I did something wrong. I'm going to try it. You can laugh at that. It is impossible to express in words what a truly wonderful man Mr. Willis is, but I will try to convey some of the sentiments our class feels towards Mr. Willis. Mr. Willis may be considered the most influential teacher we have ever known. He has taught us in a variety of subjects: global studies, psychology, sociology, and anthropology. But no matter what the class, Mr. Willis always sent us a clear and important message, that learning should be about achieving an open mind. Now, being 17 and 18 years of age, we don't fully understand all the components of an open mind. But what we do understand is that it is Mr. Willis's open mind that makes him such a special person to us. He never categorizes his students as smart or dumb, but sees each as a unique, intelligent individual with enormous intellectual potential. He understands that there are many types of intelligence and respects and admires the special talents each individual possesses. He sees the best in all of us and encourages the best in all of us. His compassion and concern for our development as scholars and as people is unlimited and has been so supportive. In high school, Mr. Willis was our only exposure to philosophy, and we thank him for introducing us to new ways of thinking. We highly value what he has taught us, and it is the enthusiasm with which he speaks that makes philosophy so interesting to us. Most of all, Mr. Willis introduced us to the world and invited us to go explore it. Mr. Willis has been to so many places around the globe, and he describes these places with such detail that it has sparked great interest in us. Now at the end of our high school careers, we are ready to go explore. And although we may be nervous about what lies ahead, we will never forget Mr. Willis's advice. If you're afraid, then do it. Mr. Willis's philosophy, wisdom, and compassion have left indelible marks on the hearts and minds of so many members of the class of 1998. We understand that we may only meet a man like Mr. Willis once in a lifetime, and we feel very fortunate to have known him. Thank you, Mr. Willis, for believing in all of us and for being our friend. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce Mr. Arthur.
Well, it's a bit overwhelming. I'm not sure the speech will come up to my vaunted reputation. I think much less. Speech will be closer to what I am, not the reputation. From a perspective of nearly 4 decades in education, with time out for a nervous collapse, and 2 one-semester sabbaticals on professional treks, I greet you, the class of 1988. Just 2 years shy of cybernetic dementia. I mean, that's madness. We all know that the year 2000 will yield far more than silicon confusion over the calendar. But we will continue to ascend and descend in a great expanding spiral. But to encompass what and in what directions? As I have already mentioned to several of you, I believe that our species will begin to make major headway, no pun intended, in developmental psychology, via transpersonal psychology. But this subject is well beyond the purview of this address. Major delineations of the material, the body, the mind, the soul, and the spirit are for you to address in your productive lifetimes. I will only venture one of many elements in this spiral, the theory and practice of freedom. For the past 500 years, what Europeans call modernity, we have seen the idea of freedom taken up as a major direction in itself. Freedom from certain horrors that Homo sapiens routinely visit upon each other, such as political and religious persecution, muzzling censorship, curtailment of movement, and atrocious punishments and tortures. These have been rigorously delineated and partially addressed. Through the great religious and political revolutions of the 16th century through the 20th century, the concept of freedom was extended and translated into polity itself, or freedom to, not just persecution from, but the right to meet together, worship the universe as one sees it, opinionate as one actually feels and thinks, publish as one intends. In other words, the freedom to actually exercise one's own autonomy, one's freewheeling actual nature. In recent years, cultural pluralists have attempted to elaborate freedom from and to even into some sort of legal kindness, which has been called political correctness, wherein every condition, situation, or act is perceived as somehow in a state of dignified victimhood. We are admonished, as George Carlin remarked, to adopt hyphenated names designed to make people feel better about their gnarly side. A murderer might be ethically challenged. A drug peddler, chemically conative. Not that I think political correctness is entirely over the top. In reading number 38 of the Tao Te Ching, we are reminded of the greater span of freedom, collective freedom. And this is the reading. When the Tao is lost, there is goodness. When goodness is lost, there is kindness. When kindness is lost, there is justice. When justice is lost, there is ritual. Ritual is the husk of faith and loyalty, the beginning of confusion. Politically correct correctionists, in speaking for justice, send us ritual messages and bring on confusion over what is real and honest. And yet, the politically correct would have us discover and practice a greater freedom than from or to. Without knowing how, the best impulses of political correctness would have us aim for at least kindness, maybe even goodness, as did the greatest of the ancient Greeks. An entire society is instructed by the reach of its striving. Is Tao forever out of reach? I hope not. I don't think so, at least not in the reaching. The great and very young theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer, he was murdered by the Nazis at the age of 33. He observed, freedom is not a quality a human being has. It is not an ability, a capacity, an attribute of being that may be deeply hidden in a person and be somehow uncovered. Anyone, says Bonhoeffer, who scrutinizes human beings in order to find freedom finds nothing of it. Why? Because freedom is not a quality that can be uncovered. It is not a possession, something at hand, an object. Instead, it is a relation and nothing else. To be precise, freedom is a relation between two persons. Being free means being free for the other, because I am bound to the other. Only by being in relation with the other am I free. I suggest, and this is the crux of this speech, that we need to become awake to a larger notion of freedom than past ideas of freedom from and to, toward freedom for others. Because as Bonhoeffer observes, our very nature is defined by the existence of human beings over against one another, with one another, and in dependence upon one another. The emergence of this dimension of freedom, namely one freedom for others, will require that a significant number of you will become increasingly less willing to settle for only justice, and will instead aim for kindness, even goodness, and will require that a small but central number of you strive for Tao, or cosmic consciousness. Justice is beautiful when informed by a higher impulse. It is ugly when reduced to doggerel. There are so many examples of individuals who have known freedom for others as the freedom. In our century alone, Mother Teresa, Malcolm X toward the end of his life, Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Eleanor Roosevelt, Judge Learned Hand, and so many more. But these are freedom warriors conveyed to us through fame. Look to your left and to your right. You may see a glint of this freedom here amongst you. As you grow towards freedom for, in Martin Buber's I-thou relationship, in mystical participation with all your fellow beings, human and non-human, no matter what your chosen identity project or profession may bring to you, I would then suggest that this growth would be most readily enhanced in these three ways. First, through the practice of a discipline especially suited to each of you. Second, through intercultural travel. And last and most important, at least in my opinion, through a meditation which allows you to move your consciousness more fully into awareness. In closing, I have seen some of the lineaments of this freedom for others in your class. Your desire to produce a more responsive student constitution, your creation of student court, your work in helping us to form better student-teacher relationships, and your willing tutorial help for fellow students bodes well. I hope these proclivities thrive in you. The class of 1998 will certainly be for me one of the most memorable classes for its humanity and creativity. I am most grateful to you for choosing me to your commencement speaker, and back at you, I am one of your most zealous fans. I end with a kind of Quaker plain language poem. Yes, I see you. I like what I see. And I shall strive to glimpse thee in you until I can say, yea, I see thee clearly. Thank you.
And now, Mr. Cole, it is my honor to present to you the class of 1998. The 91 members of this class have completed their course of study, prescribed by the Board of Education, and approved by the University of the State of New York for the Voorheesville Central School, and are therefore entitled to their diplomas. Philip Erner. The salutatorian of the class of 1998, Joseph Arena. Lauren Lloyd. Matthew Leonard Barry. Thomas Gray. Jessica Wall. Sarah Abbott. From Mexico, Georgina Aldana. Eugene Belmaceda. Benjamin Battle. Ariel Bellison. Joshua David Benedict. Blackman. Julie Brownell. Edwin Bryden. Ryan Buchanan. Daniel Birch. Jeremy Burgess. James Burns Jr. Regan Burns. Justin Carrier. Rebecca Cavalieri. From Ukraine, Katerina Chernova. From Argentina, Esteban Christian. David Clark. Naomi Kuhn. Rebecca Cooper. Andrea Coyle. William Crable. Kimberly Cronin. Claire Dent. Ryan Devine. Emily Dykeman. Jeffrey Peel. Joseph Dorothy. Bethany Douglas. Ryan Dwyer. Michael Engel. Patrick Bynell. Brett Fortress. Justin Foles. From Spain, Madalena Garcia Laguna. Sharon Helene Getnick. Amanda Rose Rico. Kevin William Griffin. Julia Guastella. James Hallenbeck. Lori Hilton. Colleen Hotel. David Hoyt. Christine Hubert. Eric Revo Ilvis. John Cassakenis. Jason Kenny. Beth Korlevich. Mark Lawson. Scott Ledoux. Joseph Linder. Christopher Long. Ryan Mayen in abstention. Zachary Mallett. James Mead. William Lawrence Mead. Carl Meyer. Mark Nedrachowski. Jill Naggingad. Kelsey Nichols. Andre Nordvik. Matthew Odell. Michael Oliver. Brian Polanski. Catherine Premiano. Cynthia Reed. Deidre Reel. Christopher Rickard. Jennifer Reedy. Christine Wall. Justin Romanowski. Robert Sampson. Christina Shackney. Eric Michael Shellflower. Sherry Schaefer. Leslie Lawrence Slater. Michael Stanton in absentia. Stephen Stark. Christopher Steer. Corey Suker. Courtney Tedesco. Gregory Tobler. Katie Faith Turner. And Sarah Elizabeth Waters. If I might, just before parting, I would like to extend to the class of 1998 a toast. It's actually a blessing, but I didn't dare say that. May the roads rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall gently on your fields. And until we meet again, may the good Lord hold you in the hollow of his hand. Thank you.